Once upon a time, in a small, quiet village nestled between rolling hills, there lived a humble farmer named Ibrahim. He was a simple man who made his living by growing crops. Every year, he depended on the rain to water his fields. Without the rain, his crops would not survive. He had always placed his trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, knowing that He is the provider of everything. One year, however, the skies were unusually dry. Weeks passed without a single drop of rain, and the land began to crack under the harsh heat of the sun. The crops withered, and the villagers began to worry. The once lush fields turned into barren, dusty patches of earth. Whispers of concern filled the air, and people gathered in groups, talking about the drought. The villagers began to panic. They gathered in the town square, discussing what to do. "What will happen to us if the rain doesn't come soon?" "We will lose everything," one person said. "Our crops are dying. There is no hope left," another lamented. But amidst all this panic, there was one man who remained calm. Ibrahim, the farmer, continued to tend to his fields. His hands were busy planting seeds, tilling the soil, and taking care of his land as he always did. Even though the skies were clear and the sun beat down mercilessly, he trusted that Allah had a plan. The villagers couldn't understand it. They watched him, bewildered. Some even laughed at him. "Look at Ibrahim. There's no rain in sight, and yet he continues to work his land like nothing is wrong. Why is he wasting his time?" one person mocked. Another said, "The heavens are as dry as our hearts. Ibrahim is just fooling himself. The rain won't come. He should give up and save his energy." Ibrahim, however, smiled at their doubts. He didn't respond to the mockery. Instead, he calmly continued with his work, repeating his simple mantra to himself: "My job is to do my best. Allah's job is to send the rain. I trust Him." He knew that his responsibility was to work hard and remain patient, while the outcome was in the hands of the Creator. Days turned into weeks, and still no rain. The villagers grew more and more disheartened. They stopped working their fields, their spirits crushed by the unrelenting heat and drought. But Ibrahim didn't stop. He rose early each morning to work the land, taking care of the crops he had planted, believing that his efforts were not in vain. Then one morning, something changed. As the sun rose in the east, dark clouds began to gather in the sky. The air became still, and the birds flew low, sensing a change in the weather. By afternoon, the clouds had thickened, and a gust of wind blew through the village. The villagers watched in amazement as the sky darkened further. They had not expected this change, and some began to whisper with hope in their voices. Could it be? Is the rain finally coming? That evening, just as the sun began to set, heavy drops of rain started to fall. At first, it was a light drizzle, but soon it turned into a downpour. The rain poured from the heavens, soaking the dry earth and refreshing the thirsty crops. The fields that had been dry and cracked now turned rich and fertile once more. The earth seemed to breathe a sigh of relief, and the plants stood tall, as if thanking Allah for His mercy. The next morning, the villagers went to check their fields. To their surprise, Ibrahim's crops were thriving, green and healthy. The rows of wheat, corn, and vegetables were tall and strong. His fields were bursting with life. The villagers were astonished. They had given up hope, yet Ibrahim's faith had kept him working. His crops were the only ones to survive. The villagers gathered around Ibrahim, their faces filled with curiosity and admiration. "How did you know the rain would come?" they asked him. "You continued to work even when everyone else gave up." Ibrahim smiled gently and said, "I didn't know, but I knew that my Rab Lord never wastes the efforts of those who trust in Him. I did my part, and I knew Allah would do the rest. My job is to plant the seeds, tend to the crops, and make dua. The rain, the growth, and the harvest are in His hands." The villagers were silent for a moment, humbled by his words. They realized that Ibrahim had shown them the true meaning of Tawakkul, trusting in Allah after doing your best. Ibrahim's actions had proven that hard work and faith are not separate. They go hand in hand. Sometimes, Ibrahim continued, we get so caught up in worrying about the outcome that we forget to trust in Allah's plan. The rain might not come when we expect it, but Allah knows the right time. Our job is to keep working, to keep hoping, and to keep trusting in Him. From that day on, the villagers learned a valuable lesson. They returned to their fields, not with doubts, but with renewed faith. They worked hard, planted their seeds, and made dua to Allah, knowing that He would provide. Ibrahim's example reminded them that while they could not control the weather, they could control their efforts and trust in Allah's plan. Moral of the story: Tawakkul means doing your part and then leaving the result to Allah. Never stop working hard and always trust in His plan. Allah is the ultimate provider, and when you place your trust in Him, He will never let you down. Your efforts, no matter how small, will always be rewarded in ways you cannot imagine.